Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Brother Daniel Arquette, and I want to thank you so much for clicking on this video. I want to take some time out to introduce the content for this particular video and also the content for this channel. You know, as Christians, there are a bunch of taboo topics and controversial topics that we don't touch on or talk about. And this channel right here is here to break down those walls. We want to discuss all of these controversial and taboo topics with different believers from different ways of life and different churches and things like that, just to get their opinions and their convictions when it comes to these different controversial topics. Today's controversial topic is oral sex allowed in marriage. Without further ado, let's see what the believers thought. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Daniel. How are you?
I'm doing well. So are you married?
Happily.
Okay, and how long have you been married?
7 years.
Oh, 7 years. Awesome. Coming on that decade real soon, huh?
Oh, yeah. We almost there.
Awesome. So here's a question that I have. You know, when you get married, you know, there are a bunch of things that you would get access to, like intimacy, for example. But there's a nuance in intimacy that, you know, I wanted to kind of ask about. And that question is, do you believe, from a Christian perspective, that oral is allowed? And if it is, if you do believe so, do you and your spouse engage in it?
So that's a great question. This is something that I have been talking to, my mentors about over the years. And it's something I used to believe in and engage in. And then actually, I stopped when I was learning under one of my mentors. And, I didn't really have a peace about it. And no one had to tell me, oh, do this, do this. I just really didn't have a peace after I began to learn about how God really viewed us keeping the marriage bed sacred. And I think a lot of Christians will say, oh, well, it's a marriage bed, you can do whatever. But I'm like, no, the Holy Spirit also still dwells there. So this is something that I no longer partake in. And I am convicted that it's not something that me and my husband are partaking in. And that feels right for us. That feels good for us. And it feels aligned biblically.
That requires full stop, mic drop. We don't need to say anything else. Thank you so much, Issy.
You're welcome.
All right, have a good one. Do you believe in the Christian marriage that oral is allowed, and do you and your wife engage in it?
I think it boils down to the fact that the main thing is satisfaction. How can you satisfy your spouse? So whatever you guys feel, is the best way to satisfy each other, then I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay, so you think in a Christian relationship that it is allowed?
Yes, I think it's allowed.
Okay, awesome.
My thoughts are, well, during my marriage counseling, right, and biblically based marriage counseling, one of the main things that I think is most important in a marriage is agreement, right? There are things that, in this case, oral, that some are really hesitant from and others are open for. And so for me, the answer comes down to what do you all agree on, right, essentially. So me and my wife were talking about, all of the things that's possible, when we were courting, okay? And for me, as I entered, I was like, I'm available to everything until we're not available. Everything's on the table and we can remove them off the table. So I was more top-down approach.
Some people think you can and you can't, but I wanted to ask you. So from a Christian perspective, do you think that you're allowed to engage in oral sex? And if that is the case, do you and your spouse engage in it?
Oral sex, well, I don't do it, but I hear people talk about it. Some people do it, some people don't do it. But me personally, I do not do it.
So, but from a Christian perspective, do you believe that it is allowed?
From Christian perspective, I would say no.
Okay, and why do you say no?
Because, talking about sex, the way we know sex should be done in the right way, and where it belongs, it's supposed to go in there, not using another part of the body for it. For me, it's a little, I'm sorry, I would say it's disgusting, but I just think it's not right.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Do you guys believe that from a Christian perspective that oral is allowed, and do you and your spouse engage in it?
No, we don't. No, we don't, but I can't lord it over everyone. But there are many reasons why one can say it's not necessary. I think that's the word. It's not necessary. Maybe right, like Paul says, there are things that are right, but it's not necessary. But I think for us, I think it's not necessary.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, for us, we don't. And it's pick and choose on your beliefs. You do your research, you get your counsel, and you run from there.
What is your conviction, though?
Well, my conviction, things that come into my mouth are things that I
eat. Nice one.
Yeah, same here. If we're not doing it, then that means we're convinced and convicted that it's not right for us.
To me, it depends on how the family, husband and woman, they want it. Christianity does not mean that you cannot spice your marriage. You understand? If your wife wants to say no, let's say, let's spice it, or your husband say let's spice it, that's fine. At least it keep you guys moving.
Okay. So you think it's just an avenue to spice up your marriage, but
Yes.
Okay, but from a Christian perspective, you don't think it's prohibited. You don't think that God says you shouldn't do this.
No, because God give both of you together as husband and wife forever. Yeah, whatever you want to do it to your wife or your husband.
When it comes to oral, do you believe that it is allowed in Christian relationship or specifically Christian marriages?
Yeah, I guess when you say oral, you're talking about oral sex. Is it allowed? I'm going to approach it from a health perspective because I'm a nurse, a registered nurse by profession. And from my studies, I have gained some knowledge which I believe is not allowed or it's not encouraged. Let's put it that way. People are choose to make their decisions, but from my own personal view, it should not be encouraged. For one main reason, we all have different bacteria in different parts of our bodies. There are bacteria that are in our mouth. Whether you brush your teeth 10 times a day, you always have bacteria. In your hands, you always have bacteria. And in your private parts, there are bacteria there just because of the nature of the way we are created. So when we engage in oral sex, we are introducing bacteria that are not meant to be in certain area in another part of the body. So for example, if you have the bacteria in your mouth when it's introduced into the vagina or vice versa, that person now have bacteria that belongs in the mouth there. And this can cause some health reasons. For example, yeast infection is a big one. Another one can be urinary tract infection. Although these things may sound small, but they can be, if not diagnosed on time and treated, it can cause further damage to the body. So just from that perspective alone, I personally think that it's not advisable because of that.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe. It helps build and support this channel. Thank you so much as you do so in advance. I also charge everyone to comment in the comment section below. Share your convictions, share your opinions when it comes to these different controversial topics, and help to grow this channel and promote discussions around these topics to make them less taboo, which is the goal of this channel. Thank you so much, and God bless everyone.